before you go on watching, I need you to do me a favor. Please go down to the comments and just let me have it. Abuse me. Be merciless. Tell me that I am trash. Because this has just gone too far. Kaya. So somehow, inexplicably, I have ended up with over a dozen new books on my TBR. Actually, it's not inexplicable at all, and it has a very simple explanation. I am trash and I have no self-control. But regardless, it does mean that I have a big juicy haul to show off to you. So, to the books. Ugh, so noisy. Are you kidding? Ew. Ew, David. This is going to be very off the cuff. Normally I lay out some pretty detailed talking points as a script. Because there are so many books in this video, I'm just can't be bothered, so we'll see how this goes. Apologies in advance. Let's start with the books I didn't pay for, beginning with the library books. So first off, we have Sand Talk by Tyson Nyoongar Boodjah. I've mentioned this a couple of times on my channel before. Basically, it's about the importance of Indigenous knowledge systems. I'll also be picking this up for the Scaredy Cat Readathon that is hosted and devised by Smriti over at Sant Reads. I'll link her channel below. But I'll be giving you my in-depth, immediate reactions to this book as I vlog my readathon experience. So please stay tuned for that. Also, if you're so inclined, check out my Instagram where I will be trying to post aesthetic pics as part of the Instagram challenges that Smriti has devised. Very excited about this one. Sounds super important. I think I'm gonna get a lot out of it. The next library book I have to show you is Fun Home by Alison Bechdel. This is a graphic novel based on the author's life growing up, her strained relationship with her father, her coming to terms with her sexuality. The blurb says, through a narrative that is alternately heartbreaking and fiercely funny, we are drawn into a daughter's complex yearning for her father. When Alison comes out as homosexual herself in late adolescence, the denouement is swift, graphic, and redemptive. It sounds incredibly poignant and heartbreaking and emotionally piercing. Now, the next couple of books I have to show you were so kindly sent by my beloved Tata Party over in Chennai. My grandparents, for those of you who don't speak Tamil, they are observing very strict lockdown at the moment. I miss them both dearly. They watch my videos, so if you're watching, I love you guys. I miss you. I hope you're staying safe. I will call you later today. I'm trying to call them as much as possible, but you know, I can always do better. They are ardent supporters of this channel, which is just so lovely. These books are both by the same author, T.M. Krishnan, who is a very renowned Carnatic vocalist. He's also stirred up quite a storm in the Carnatic music scene because he's very outspoken about the elitism, the casteism, the sexism that is entrenched in the Carnatic music industry, in that space. Of course, he's just amplifying the work that he's done by artists and activists of marginalized castes and genders in the space as well. But I think he's ultimately using his platform to do some pretty cool things, which is why I was really intrigued by his books. When I realized he'd written and authored some books, I thought, you know what? He sounds like a really fascinating person whose perspective I find really interesting, so I thought I would give his books a go. The first of which is A Southern Music, A Carnatic Story. This appears to be a series of philosophizations on music and art, specifically Carnatic music and its history and issues of caste and gender and elitism within the institution of Carnatic music. It sounds very conceptual, but I'm really intrigued by it. And the other book I have by him is Reshaping Art. This is a very short, cute little volume. Basically, it says, in Reshaping Art, T.M. Krishna asks important questions about how art is made, performed, disseminated, and addresses crucial issues of caste, class, and gender within society while exploring the contours of democracy, culture, and learning. I'm hoping this isn't just an abridged version of this. I think I'm really interested in the ideas that are going to be explored here. So really excited about those two books. Hello, so I am sitting here editing this video, and I just want to acknowledge that T.M. Krishnan is a Brahmin. He is an upper caste Hindu. He has a lot of caste privilege. Just want to acknowledge that my anti-caste consciousness raising has not begun and will not end with these works. I just picked them up because they sounded interesting, but I should be reading Own Voice's works about caste. Now to the books that cost actual money. Of these, I'm going to start with the books I bought secondhand because I feel slightly less guilty about them. Let's start with Room by Emma Donoghue. This book follows a young boy and his mother who have for a number of years been imprisoned in a room by their captor, someone who abducted the mother a long time ago, and that mother has since given birth to this son in that room, and that little boy doesn't know any other life. The blurb says, "Room is home to Jack, but to Ma, it's the prison where she has been held for 7 years. Through her fierce love for her son, she has created a life for him in this 11 by 11 foot space. But Jack's curiosity is building alongside Ma's own desperation, and she knows that room cannot contain either much longer." I've heard amazing things about Emma Donoghue. I'm really keen to get to this. The rest of the books that I got secondhand, I bought at a library clearance sale at my local library, which is always a delight. So those books are The Sad Tale of the Brothers Grossbart by Jessie Bullington, Living Nowhere by John Burnside, The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime by Mark Haddon. So starting with The Sad Tale of the Brothers Grossbart, I broke my own rule. I try not to buy multiple books by the same author if I haven't read any of that author's books yet. But it was an author I recognized, and the premise sounded really, really interesting, so I couldn't resist. The year is 1364. Hungry creatures stalk the dark woods of medieval Europe, and both sea and sky teem with unspeakable horrors. There is no foulness, however, no witch nor demon to rival the grave-robbing twins Hegel and Manfred Grossbart. This is their tale, sad but true. Sounds really dark and creepy and fantastical, and it was like $3, so bargain. Another book I picked up because I recognized the author is Living Nowhere by John Burnside. Living Nowhere is about two teenage boys living in Corby, Scotland. So the first of the boys, Francis, is a local of Scotland, and Jan, the other boy he befriends, is the son of Latvian refugees. So very different. They are both outsiders. Alienated, intelligent, and curious, they form a strong and lasting bond. Two teenage boys finding their feet in a foreign place. But violence hangs in the Corby air like the ash and the stench from the steelworks. And when it comes down, it is sudden and lethal, with repercussions that will last a lifetime. I'm really drawn to the themes of friendship in the wake of adversity, the setting of Scotland, of an industrial town in Scotland. It sounds really brilliant, and I'm really excited. And of course, the last of my secondhand books, The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime by Mark Haddon. I've always heard wonderful things about this book. The main thing I know about it is that it explores neurodivergence, or the character is not neurotypical. But it didn't occur to me until after I'd walked out with this book to research how good the representation was and if it was own voices. I'd never considered it before. So I googled it, and it turns out, no, it is not own voices. And it turns out that Mark Haddon has received lots of criticism by neurodiverse people, by people with autism, that the representation in here is not great. So that makes me a bit about this novel. I'm going to be keeping this book on a back burner for now. Now to the books that really made a considerable dent in my bank account. The following books I bought brand spanking new, like I'm Bill Flippin' Gates. But they're so beautiful, and 2020 has just been a bit rough, so treat yourself. The first of these I want to show you is Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng. I have been yearning so hard to read this book. I have heard such incredible things about Celeste Ng. This book is about Mia and her daughter Pearl, who move into this neighborhood, a very tight-knit community, and rent a house from the Richardsons, and they become enmeshed in each other's lives. It also explores a custody battle when friends of the Richardsons are trying to adopt a Chinese American baby, and this battle divides the town and amplifies tensions. Next, I bought An American Marriage by Tayari Jones. This won the Women's Prize in 2019, and I'm a big fan of the Women's Prize. I think it showcases some really cool authors. I've got a long list of books that have been shortlisted and have been winners of the prize that I've been meaning to get to. Now it seems that this book is at the top of that list. This book follows Celestial and Roy, who are a newlywed couple. They are both Black. They are settling into their new life together when Roy is unexpectedly arrested and convicted of a crime he didn't commit, and he has to now serve 12 years in prison. And this book is going to explore the repercussions of that on these characters' lives. As Roy's time in prison passes, Celestial is unable to hold on to the love that has been her center. When Roy's conviction is suddenly overturned and he returns to Atlanta ready to resume married life, Celestial is faced with a soul-wrenching decision whether to let go or try to rebuild a marriage that has lost its underpinnings. This sounds harrowing. It sounds absolutely heartbreaking. Oh, I'm getting feels just thinking about the premise, and I haven't even read the book yet. Oh my God. I think stories and conversations about how the carceral state and how prisons and the prison industrial complex affects and tears apart families and relationships is so vital. I'm so looking forward to reading this and absorbing the lessons that are to be learned from it. The next book I bought is Terra Nullius by Claire G. Coleman. I'm so incredibly excited about this. Oh my god, this is, okay. I really don't know anything at all about this book going in, except that from the title and from the brief description, it's going to explore colonization. The author Claire G. Coleman is a South Coast Noongar woman. I live on Nyoongar Boodjah. I live on the lands of the Noongar Nation, although I live on Whadjuk land, not South Coast land. Reading stories of the people on whose lands you live, I think is so vital when you live on colonized lands. The natives of the colony are restless. The settlers are eager to have a nation of peace and to bring the savages into line. Families are torn apart, re-education is enforced. The rich land will provide for all. This is not Australia as we know it. This is not the Australia of our history. This Terra Nullius is something new, but all too familiar. So for those of you who don't know, Terra Nullius is basically a Latin term that means empty land. I'm not super down with the legal history of it, but basically this idea that the many nations and lands that make up the continent that we call Australia were empty, that no one had claim over it. This reasoning was essentially used to justify the atrocities and theft and dispossession that was used to create this nation that we call Australia. So this is an author I've been meaning to read for years, and now that I finally have a copy of this book, I really have no excuse. Penultimately, we have The Yield by Tara June Winch. Tara June Winch is a Wiradjuri author, if I'm not mistaken, so again, really excited to read more First Nations literature. This book looks at language and the preservation and continuation of language, culture, sovereignty, caring for country, and also of grief and kinship. The protagonist, August's family home is about to be repossessed by a mining company. It follows her journey trying to protect their land, which of course is an embodiment of the overall struggle of First Nations people globally to care for their land, to protect their land, to exercise their sovereignty over their ancestral lands. And finally, we have Hollowpox by Jessica Townsend, the third installment in the Nevermore series. This is a direct continuation from the second book, Wondersmith, which I loved. All the books in the series I've loved so far. I don't think I can get into the specifics of this book without spoiling the first and second, but basically the series follows Morrigan Crow, who is whisked away on the eve of her 11th birthday to the magical city of Nevermore, where she has to partake in a series of difficult and dangerous trials to gain entry into the very acclaimed Wondrous Society, where she is promised the best education in the world. If you've got a Harry Potter shaped hole in your heart, then I think this series, while being really imaginative and original, definitely captures the magic of that world. I'm so excited about this. I will probably be getting to this very soon because I am just itching to know what happens next and follow the adventures of these crazy characters. And those were the books. If you have read any of them, please let me know what you thought. I've got to learn not to buy books beyond my means because this is a habit that I cannot afford. Why am I like this? Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, I am looking forward to seeing you again very soon. Oh shit, fuck, oh my god.